Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Biden border crisis keeps getting worse. Every day, it is getting worse. In my home state of Texas, on the southern border, we have seen over 500,000 illegal crossings this year. We are on a pace to have over 2 million people cross the border illegally. And this is the direct result of decisions made by Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. 3 decisions made in the opening week of this administration caused this crisis. Number 1, the first week in office, Joe Biden immediately halted construction of the border wall. Number 2, he reinstated the failed policy of catch and release. And number 3, most indefensibly, he ended the incredibly successful Remain in Mexico international agreement. Remain in Mexico was an agreement President Trump negotiated with the government of Mexico that said that those people who cross into Mexico illegally would remain in Mexico while their asylum cases are pending in the United States. And it worked tremendously. Last year, we had the lowest rate of illegal immigration in 45 years. This year, we have the highest rate of illegal immigration in over 20 years. The people of Texas, I'm hearing from people all across Texas. Go to South Texas, talk to mayors, and by the way, talk to Democratic mayors on the border that are dealing with hundreds of thousands of people coming across. Talk to farmers and ranchers who are dealing with coyotes crossing their land on a daily basis, trafficking people, trafficking drugs. Talk to landowners like one rancher I know who had his ranch house broke into and MS-13 painted, spray painted on the walls. And the answer from the Biden administration is they don't care. And I've got to say, Mr. Chairman, it is painful to say the answer from the Democratic Judiciary Committee is the Democratic Judiciary Committee doesn't give a damn. We're not having a hearing about the crisis on the southern border. This is not the first hearing we've had on amnesty. This is not the second hearing we've had on amnesty. This is the third hearing we've had on amnesty in 6 months. These hearings are part of the problem. You know what? All across the world, people are hearing Senate Democrats saying, we're in the business of amnesty. Little boys and little girls are getting physically assaulted by drug traffickers and human traffickers. They're being sexually assaulted by drug traffickers and human traffickers. When I led a group of 19 senators down to the border, we saw one 11-year-old girl who had been raped by the traffickers coming across. On the Rio Grande River, we saw the body of a man who had drowned crossing the river. And the answer, tragically, from the Democrat Judiciary Committee is they don't give a damn. We spent 4 years listening to Democrats run to TV cameras talking about kids in cages. There are more cages, and they are more full today. Joe Biden is running the cages that are packed with kids at the Donna Tent facility, built for 1,000 people with COVID restrictions. Its capacity is 250 people. Senator Kennedy, when we were down there were over 4,200 people in that facility. 1,700% its capacity. The Biden cages, child after child after child, packed in there, little boys, little girls, not 6 feet apart, as you would want in a pandemic, not 3 feet apart. They weren't even 3 inches apart. They're next to each other. They're sleeping on the floor, no beds, no mats, no cots, wrapped in reflective emergency blankets. The time we were there, the rate of COVID positivity was over 10%. And the Biden administration is releasing illegal aliens into our community who are COVID positive. It is irresponsible. It is wrong. And every Democrat who said to a TV camera, kids in cages, Mr. Chairman, why doesn't this committee have a hearing on the Biden cages? Instead, we have a hearing with the Secretary of Agriculture Mr. Secretary, if we were having a hearing on the optimum fertilizer for growing corn, I think you might be a very good witness. Does the Department of Agriculture secure the border?
We're not responsible for the law enforcement aspect of this, but
No.
the secure.
No, hold on.
Well, you ask a question.
Allow the
Senator.
witness to answer.
Okay, my question was, do you secure the border? The answer is no.
No.
Do you run the cages?
No.
Do you prosecute the traffickers?
No.
Are you the Attorney General?
No, sir.
Are you the Secretary of Homeland Security?
No, sir.
And with all due respect, your answers on immigration were fertilizer. They were nonsense. Your answer, you said, why are we seeing this crisis? Your answer was poverty. There are 7 billion people on planet Earth, many of whom were poor. And you know what? They were poor last year. And we had the lowest rate of illegal immigration in 45 years. They're poor this year. What's changed is this administration refuses to enforce the law, and Texas is paying the price for it. That's what's changed. Your other answer was the pandemic. Mr. Secretary, last year there was a pandemic, and we had the lowest rate of illegal immigration in 45 years. Poverty didn't magically appear on January of 2021, and the pandemic didn't appear on January 2021. What appeared was Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and policies that are inhumane, that are cruel, and that are failing.
Senator, was the border secure last year?
Last year, it was the most secure it's been in 45 years.
If that's the case, why didn't you all pass the Ag Modernization Act last year after it passed the House? You're telling me that it's got to secure the border before you pass this act.
Let me be clear. I'm not Lindsey Graham. I don't support this bill. Look, I understand that there have been Democrats and Republicans who support amnesty. I ain't one of them. I get that you want amnesty. I get that your invitation is come to America, forget the legal processes, and everyone
I want a workforce that's going to continue to support the greatest agriculture and food industry in the world. That's what I'd like to have, Senator.
Well, I'll tell you, I thought you wanted him to respond.
Senator, you've taken more time than any other senator this morning. Will you please wrap up?
This is a crisis. This administration caused it, and this committee doesn't even care to have a hearing on the suffering that is happening at the border that is caused by policies that don't work.